to work it. Really? We need to get that meeting together where it's at. We're going to have her come in and
Well, I've talked to Julie Casey.
yeah.
I've talked to her a couple times. Check it all. Because I've talked to her like twice. I sent her the addresses where basically what she said is like the guy that works for fitness. Way that was her first thought, was that the assessments were so low that it just wasn't generating any type of revenue. And I told her my first concern was the agreements. My second concern is the rest of the district. You know, so
once we sign the agreement with the state, they're going to get more than $12. Yeah, that's the one. Now I can operate. Well, if something does come about where we have a meeting or let's let me know.
and the way we left that was that he thought we needed to call January, which I don't know if he's
You know when you end up thrown off by that. Maybe we should go find one. I bet this is bothering. So I need to go to the treasurer's office. I mean, it's up there. I know. It should be out for a week. It should be out for another week. Thinking outside the box, they weren't somebody invited his first response is, well, here's the computer. Let's see if we can get this thing working.
Okay, it is a little bit after 6 o'clock here on Tuesday, the 8th day of August. We'll call to order this meeting of the Murphysboro City Council, and as always, ask you to all rise. We have these seating down Ministerial Alliance. I believe he is prepared to deliver an opening invocation for us.
Thank you, Mayor. Will you pray with me? Heavenly Father, we thank you for all that you bring to our lives. Lord, we particularly thank you for this fine community that you surrounded us in Murphysboro, Illinois. Father, we ask that you put your guiding hand on the shoulder of our city council tonight and help them to be wise and make governance decisions that work for all of us. Father, we thank you for everything you bring to our lives, the good stuff we like and even the bad stuff we don't, because we know, Lord, that a lot of times that bad stuff draws us closer to you. Lord, bless this meeting and bless everyone in it. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag
All right, well, we'll get into our items on the agenda this evening. We have an item that isn't on most of our agenda, typical agendas, and that is the appointment of a new member of the Murphysboro City Council. And this, of course, to fill the position that was left vacant by Alderman Mike Bastian, who we're very thankful to him for his years of service and commitment to the city. And we're welcoming this evening Noah Fritchie, who is someone that I am bringing forth to the Murphysboro City Council for consideration to fill that vacancy in Ward 5. And so with that being brought forth, is there any conversation or a motion to approve the appointment?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Everybody seems to like it so far. This time, we need to have the swearing in of Mr. Fritchie as the alderman, and Clerk Hunziker will join him here at the front of the council area and administer that oath.
Okay, I'm gonna switch places so they can see. Okay, raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Noah Fritchie,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United
the
States,
Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the ordinances of the City of Murphysboro,
and the ordinances of the City of Murphysboro,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of alderman
of the office of alderman
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. Call him Gladys.
He's a big guy. I bet he will. Speak for himself.
He's down here on the good end.
Noah, do you want to say anything?
Well, I thank you for the opportunity, and I'm just so excited about the city of Murphysboro. I've been involved heavily for it's been the last 5 years or so, and just to see the growth in the downtown and everything happening. Me and my wife moved here just about that same time, and it's just so encouraging to see so much life being brought into the city. I think it's a pivotal point in the city. And I don't know, I'm just excited to serve. So I appreciate the opportunity, the recommendation, and excited to see what the next year or so brings.
Very good.
So,
Well, welcome.
thanks.
Thank you. All right, well, with that being said, we need to call the roll, and so Clerk Hunziker, would you please do so?
Alderman Hughes. Here. Alderman Curry Whitson. Alderman Runge.
Here.
Alderman Austin.
Here.
Alderman Jackson. Here. Alderman Pitt.
Here.
Alderman Urbis.
Here.
Alderman McCall.
Here.
All right, say your last name for me again.
Fritchie?
Fritchie. Alderman Fritchie.
Here.
Alderman Gladden.
Here.
Mayor Stevens.
Here. All right, well, on our agenda this evening, we initially had a presentation of a certificate to Dakota Tyser, but Mr. Tyser was unable to be with us, and so we're going to move that presentation to our next meeting. However, I was informed that Chief McBride has some recognition, I believe, in collaboration with another group of Mr. Charlie Nance. Chief McBride?
Thanks, sir. They also like to present a certificate to firefighter Charlie Nance.
Okay, very good. We welcome them to come up and make that presentation.
On behalf of the Elks and the community of Murphysboro, the Elks gives away community awards per se, and this year we would like to give ours to Charlie Nance on behalf of his work with the Children's Care Corporation on the youth activities that he has done for us and for other community events that I have seen him at, the Youth Night Out. He used to come to our Youth Day at the Elks for all the community youth that were interested, and other activities that he has helped and volunteered for with us for his community, and especially with our Elks, usually veterans or the children. So.
His duties here, he is our training officer, which is the most intense assignment you can have at the fire department. Yearly, we get audited for our training records, and yearly he receives praise from the State Fire Marshal's Office for the completeness of the records and the ease at which they complete their audit. And then also he does a lot of fundraising for MDA, the wiffle ball tournament, and just gives a lot of his time. So he's very well deserved.
Absolutely. It's an excellent wiffle ball tournament. It was just last week, so thankful for all that he does. Thank you. That takes us into our consideration of our minutes from July the 25th, 2023, our previous meeting, and I would entertain any questions or amendments to the minutes at this time. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes. We have a motion. Is there a second? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have any other committee and commission reports. We'll go to budget and finance first, chaired by Mr. W.J. Pett.
All right, under old business, we have consideration of an increase to alderman salaries. I know we had moved this from our last meeting, give some people some time to think about it. So I'd open that up for discussion if anybody has anything they want to discuss about that.
Well, I'll take the blame, of course, because I put this on the agenda without, asking anybody anything about it. And it was just my point at the last meeting was that best research we can figure out. It's been 40 years since the council saw it, have seen any increase in what they're compensated for. I realize nobody up here is doing this job for the quote-unquote, money, but, 40 years seems like an appropriate time to at least approach the question. I looked at some other communities in the area, and I don't know how to make an appropriate comparison, but Berrien's members of the council are paid $20,000 a year. DuQuoin's are making $8,400, Pinckneyville $7,500, West Frankfort $7,000, Sparta $4,800, Carbondale $4,200. So I mean, we're not wildly out of line, but we are in the lowest echelon. So it's obviously not my decision to make. It's up to the council to make that decision. But I don't expect any member of the council to bring it up either. And so something that I thought I wanted to bring forward for consideration. And if it doesn't go anywhere, that's fine. It doesn't bother me any. One way or the other, really. But
What's your suggestion?
well, my suggestion the last meeting was to, because currently the pay, I believe, is $250 a month.
Correct.
And, you know, inflation over the last 40 years, I mean, if you increased it to $500, you wouldn't even be restoring the purchasing power of the money that you were making when the salary was originally adopted. And so that was my recommendation, and of course, it wouldn't even take effect until after the next elections, so nobody's serving.
Nobody here, except perhaps Noah?
No.
It would need to
Nobody
be,
here would be able to take advantage of that or be able to enjoy that extra 250.
for the, taking their terms May 1st of 2025, it will be effective for them. For those aldermen's positions who will then be taking effect the next 2 years, it will not take effect until those next 2 years because it cannot be increased during.
So it wouldn't take
Current
effect
term.
for the entirety of the council until 2027.
Okay, then by then.
That's what she's saying.
So, does anybody have anything they want to add to that, or would anybody agree? No?
I feel that a $500 a month increase to that, as the mayor indicated, wouldn't even cover the cost of living increase over those 40 years. So, WJ, I'll make a motion that we increase the alderman's salaries to $500 a month.
We have a motion, would anybody like to
I'll
second?
second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Sounds like we need a roll
A little
call.
bit. Not very much enthusiasm.
Start the other end.
Well, I just say one comment, I appreciate the mayor giving us the opportunity to the comparables, because I really had no idea what other councils were.
Well, the only council in the area making less than Murphysboro's, interestingly, is Mount Vernon, and they're making $2,400 a year. So, and they're a community, obviously, probably 5 times our size. So it's very, you know, there's no rhyme or reason to it in some sense. But
Well, it might give us more people to think about running too, you know.
well, right.
That is true.
One other comment, the increase needs to be done by ordinance, or city code already sets what it is. Would the city council want an ordinance in front of them to see what they're voting on before?
Yeah, I read that today in the statute.
Well, I mean, I guess the vote could be for the city attorney to draft such ordinance, you know, and because I have to assume it's pretty boilerplate.
It is, it will be.
Yeah.
So then do we need to have, ask Don if he wants to change his motion to do that?
Don, are you willing to accept an amendment to your motion to direct the city attorney to craft an ordinance that would?
Yes, but we need to get the ball rolling.
Okay.
And then Gary, would you still second that motion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Were those ayes or were those, that was ayes down there?
No, they were no.
We were notes.
Okay. I'm a no also.
All right, so,
So motion passes. So I guess Richard, if you would prepare an ordinance change so we can look at that for the next meeting. All right, that's the last item under old business. Under new business, we have consideration of accounts payable, accounts receivable, and payroll registers. We had one accounts payable register in our packet and had another one here tonight. Anybody have any questions on the bills?
there was one that was handed out just before the meeting that I can speak to. I don't know what's happening, anyway, I can speak to it. So, the Sunset concert that was scheduled for this coming Thursday, that particular band called me today and said that at least one of their members has COVID and is very ill and could not come. And so I got a hold of the group that was to play the next week and asked them if they could play a week earlier. And they said that they could, but one of the band members would have to cancel 3 music lessons and wanted to know if we could compensate them $100 more to cover for the funds he was going to lose from not being able to teach those lessons. So that's what the $100 to Kelly Tyler is.
That pretty much comes out of the Snyder Fund, right?
It does. And then the $1,200 is tourism funds to help cover the cost of the sound reinforcement for the old school jamboree at Riverside Park this Saturday. Tourism supported that last year as well.
Well, there, Gary?
Yeah, well, I was just, we had somebody in place before here, I had asked a while back, they keep raising the price for the dog catcher to take animals out there. Did we ever get a report in on how many he takes a month?
I don't know the answer to that.
I didn't think he would, but I'd like to have it, because they're up, I think, $3,400 now.
I think it increases every April,
Well,
July.
the thing
every
is,
July, excuse me.
that's one thing. It's another thing, how many dogs or cats we're taking out there. Are we taking 2 or are we taking 100? You know, they won't take them to the other one because it's not a kill shelter. But, I mean, it's according to how many animals we're taking out there every month, to pay $3,400.
I will leave a note for Chief so where he can look into it for
He
you.
probably, I mean, that's not the biggest thing on his mind, I'm sure he forgot it, but, it'd just be nice to know if we're gonna pay $3,400 a month, how many animals we take out there. Because, so if the other one was a kill shelter, they'd be bidding each other on there, but they take animals. But my question is, you know, just how many do we take a month?
It's gone up considerably too the last
Uh,
couple of years. It's gone up considerably the last couple of years.
Probably $1,000 or more.
Gary, you said it's $3,400 a month is what the...
Yeah.
I think that's what it was in here, he raised. But, you know, if we're taking enough animals out there, maybe it's not that high. But, if we're not taking very many out there, it's pretty high. You pay for what you get, but we don't know what we're getting.
Fair enough.
Well, I'd say, Chief Eleanor, I meant to be here, the guy who texted me right before the meeting and said, emergency and something out here.
Be able to update things in the next meeting. Barb, you had a question?
And Tim can probably answer it. On page, it's 627 on page 6, that $4,400, those are all yours. Is that a break somewhere? It's copper yoke, bands, dual purpose in coupling.
That's inventory.
It's just inventory that you have to restock from.
Yeah, that's from multiple different.
Okay, that's what I just wondered if we had a break or a recent one, or if that was replenishing what you've had to use.
Yeah, that's just
Thank
inventory
you.
stuff.
And informational wise, I used, there's a $2,000 one that we did approve at last meeting, and it says Southern Illinois Community Foundation. That is what goes through the 62966. You know, that's what we, the motion was made. Revitalize, yeah, to give that to Revitalize for the Brewfest. But then when it came out on here, it says Southern Illinois Community Foundation. So if anyone was questioning if that's the same 2,000 it is. That's my only.
If there aren't any more questions, I entertain a motion to pay the bills.
So moved.
One motion. Second. And a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item under new business is financial statement prepared by Scott Evans, Fund Officer. Scott.
Thank you, WJ. So I dropped that before the meeting, so what I have tonight is kind of the usual suspects. The sales and home rule tax report for August, we brought in $374,000 and change for sales and home rule tax, which is down from last year at this time. For the second month in a row, we're down, so apparently somebody's not spending enough money in Murphysboro or something. But anyway, I mean, we've had enough up months that I think we're still fine. If you project that out, you know, we should hit somewhere around 4.1 million, which is a bit ahead of budget. So unless something really changes, we're still in pretty good shape. But you know, you never like to see the backward trends and the plateauing out, I guess. But it's just the way it is. And this would represent the May sales. So anyway, that's the numbers for that. The snapshot of the general fund spending and revenues for the first 7 months. We have spent $4,043,000 across the various departments in general fund. Same period, we budgeted $4.3 million, so we got $272,000 cushion there. And our revenues are running about $230,000 ahead of budget, which of course a big part of that is the sales and home rule tax. So currently we have through 7 months, we have a $59,000 deficit, and because of all the various expenses that actually haven't hit yet in ARPA and some of the building costs, we expected to be about a $562,000 deficit at this point, so it will catch up, but it just hasn't quite yet. So anyway, that's the general fund spending. I don't see any particular departments that are alarm bells necessarily. A lot of what you see in the brackets tends to be timing issues of things being spent not evenly throughout 12 months. That's just not how life works sometimes. So, so you do have those anomalies from time to time. Going on to the next report, we have the salaries, and of course that's the biggest component to our organization as most. Through the 7 months, or for the month of July, I should say, we spent $294,000 and change, just under $295. We budgeted $324 for the month, so we're doing good there. And cumulatively for the 7 months, we have budgeted about $2.2 million, and we've only spent $2.1, so we've got a $147,000 cushion through 7 months, which is good because that's typically what one extra payroll will equal on its own. So you'd hate to be less than that heading towards the latter half of the year. So we're in good shape there. You know, nobody's really out of whack there on the budget, although we have had, and Tim can probably attest to this, we've had a lot of overtime in the water department, and I think there's been numerous breaks, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So,
Correct.
yeah. And that comes back to my point that we made 6 months ago that said, don't forget that the Kincaid water is just one of many components to the water system. Here's a case in point where, even if Kincaid didn't raise the rates again, we still have things like that happen. That makes it possible for our water to get to our faucets. So those are always out there working, waiting to happen. So, and this was a case where it did. So, well, anyway, that's the salaries across the city total. We had a pretty decent month in July. Again, we typically don't have a lot of fluctuation in our health insurance premiums, so that's pretty static, about $43,000 between general fund and water sewer. And as well as the vision and dental, all those things, those are pretty routine, pretty constant. It's the HRA that can change, and it's been as high as $13,000 a few months, which is really towards the upper end. But we had a pretty good month as far as experience goes in July. We only had about $6,000 in reimbursements come through, so that's a really good month. And through 7 months, we've spent about $4,800 per employee through those 7 months. So that still continues to be very under control. And if you extrapolate the numbers out for the rest of the year, I think we're going to be in really good shape, especially on general fund. being well under that $563,000 number unless something just totally blows us out of the water, and we haven't seen that happen in 6 or 7 years of experience, so I think we're in pretty good shape there. So that's it. Any questions on those, or finances in general, or?
Well, we were down compared to this month last year, but we're still beating the previous months 5 out of the 8 months.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You know, and honestly, you know, if several years ago, the number is $374,000 in sales and home rule tax in August, many of those months we would have killed for that kind of number. You know?
Yeah.
I
So,
think going through last year, every month it seemed like it was sort of an anomaly. We weren't gonna hit that number ever again. And
Yeah.
we've been pretty close every month.
Yeah, we really have, you know, so I hope that continues, and, you know, as Noel was alluding to, you know, you do see a lot of positive things happening in Murphysboro, including more retail things opening and being built, so, you know, maybe there's some positive momentum there, so.
All right, thank you, Scott.
Yep.
That's the last item under new business. Is there any public comment under budget and finance? Hearing none, we can move out of budget and finance.
Thank you, W. James, Basic Building and Grounds, Mr. Mike Boss.
Thank you, Mayor. We have no old business, and under new business, we have a consideration of bids for a fire department shower valve replacement. I'll turn that over to Chief McBride.
Thank you, Mr. Austin. So, in our shower quarters, I'm pretty sure it's the original valve to this building. They have rebuilt it a few times over the years. It finally got to the point where it would not complete. Guys put a ball valve up on the shower head to make it shut off so we weren't wasting water. Well, now, deteriorated. Not really a problem. So, one thing. So, those are 2 bids to replace the shower.
Is there any comments from the council?
Let's get this taken care of.
All right.
I have a question. In there, I know that you per se are not a union employee, but is there, and Sandra can probably answer this, is there an amount that you can spend without bringing to council? Like, I know that Tim and Darren have amounts that they can do.
I think it's all like $1,400. I think it's $1,400
Is it 14?
across the board.
Okay.
Yeah, is what I thought.
I
But
thought it was higher than that. I was gonna say, this kind of thing, couldn't he just have gone ahead and had done at $500 or?
When getting bids, of course, it's difficult to know whether or
Well,
not.
yeah, I do get that.
It's
I
gonna
get
be
that.
yeah,
at that
I get
threshold.
that. Anyway, I'm,
when I got
I make a motion to accept the bids from Heartland Heating and Air Conditioning.
second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Opposes. Second action in new business is consideration of bids for the fire department rescue building air conditioning repair. I called each alderman and told them what was going on there. Do we have any questions regarding repair to the air conditioning unit? With none, I would ask to take a motion. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And I will say that through a conversation Sandra and I had, she was talking about some possibilities later on of when the new building starts, taking some of the equipment that we have, like over the Spears building, and being able to use it in other areas to maybe make it more of a permanent fix instead of a temporary.
To set it outside, it would require some ducting, but it's a different type of unit. What's in there is more of a residential style unit, but I'm sure, if we could make that work, that'd be great too. I just appreciate it because today it was 94 degrees in my office, so even with it nice outside. So
Your conditions.
The third thing on the buildings and ground is consideration of declaring properties for surplus. And Charlie, do you have anything to say on those three properties?
Those are basically properties that we've acquired through the tax sale. We've tore down buildings there. All three of them have neighbors that are interested in purchasing the properties. We're on the city goal list right now. The first one at 305, we just removed the trailer a week ago, I guess. And the neighbor there has been maintaining it for years and years and years. We haven't even actually, I don't believe in mowing it, but she's interested in that one. 1605 Stetcher, it's actually, there's two properties there. We own both of them. Neighbor, same thing there, wants to acquire that one. Actually, those two. And then 1018 Maple, it's a vacant lot. All three lots are vacant. All three neighbors want to purchase those, so start the process of declaring them surplus and then coming up with the price to sell those.
I'm sorry, I did, Charlie, the Stecker Street one is the owner of that little house behind Blaine's house, that house on the corner of Short Street and 17th, is she buying that Stecker Street property?
I believe
Is she the
so.
one?
I was trying to look it up, so I was just trying to look up her name. I'm drawing a blank.
I can't
on it.
remember her name either. The house used to belong to Ogan or
Yes.
McDaniels.
Yeah, and she's interested in
Okay,
that,
so she is the one that is
Yeah.
interested in that lot. And then the Maple Street one, do you know who that is?
Yeah, he was actually at a council meeting.
Oh, yeah, I do remember
couple
that.
council meetings
Yeah.
ago, but we didn't make the agenda, so I failed to reach out to him to let him know it's going to be on there today, but I've talked to him since then and let him know that
He's
they
still
would be
interested.
coming up. And, yeah, I would get a hold of him once we declare it.
Where's the one that's 305?
Right below the rolling up with the steps that we were talking about the last one. Right
Below
there.
that, on that
There was
side of the
a,
street below, okay. I couldn't figure out where that was.
Yeah, there was a single wide trailer there that we.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Charlie.
Yep.
I hear a motion from Alderman McComb. Have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any public comments for buildings and grounds? If not, Mayor, we can move on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Austin. That takes us to community relations, chaired by Ms. Carrie Witzman. In her absence, I'll handle these items. We have no old business. Under new business, we have a report from Liberty Theater Board, and I know we have some new folks there. I'm not sure who wishes to represent the singing chorus or.
I'll do that. Should I stand? Sorry, I'm new to city council meetings. I'll stand over here so everybody can see me. I'm Charlie Fehrenbacher. I am the new president at the Liberty Theater. We just had a board changeover. This is my wife, Lauren. She's the new treasurer. We also have a new vice president and two other board members who could not make it today. But yeah, so we are in a transition process right now with the former board. They are still involved. They're going to continue volunteering. They're helping us transition into these roles. Myself, I have some experience with a non-profit. We run not-for-profit that is called Cinema Click. We are a Southern Illinois filmmaking club. Lauren and I are full-time filmmakers. She works in television remotely with Hollywood and, mostly true crime and documentary shows, and I work on movies, commercials, photo shoots, those kinds of things. We lived in Carbondale, or I lived in Carbondale, and we moved back after living all over the country and doing that for a while, but now we're making movies here. We shot our first short film in the Old Mount Carbon Church last year, and it's won a number of awards around the country at this point, and we want to spread that. So we've applied for a grant. We have all kinds of fun stuff going on at Liberty Theater for filmmaking. We want to get a workshop going to teach younger people the art of filmmaking. If this grant comes through, we'll be able to have 3 classes of 15 students each over the next year. They'll all get a chance to make a movie. They'll all be screened at the Liberty Theater, and it's through the Illinois State Film Office. So we have a lot of fun plans. On top of that, we plan to kind of keep everything going that the Liberty's been doing. We want to keep it open to the community. We're not planning any huge hikes in the price or anything like that. That being said, I do have a letter here. There's 2 things I would like to ask the council today. One is for, I believe in the past, the city has given us a donation yearly, and I don't think we've received that this year. So I don't know who to give this to. Will, just go to you. We drafted a little letter for you here.
Thank you.
We respectfully ask the city put us in the budget this year to give us $3,000 towards our efforts to restore the facade of the building. We actually received $10,000 from the Smizer Foundation to update our marquee with LED signs on both sides, similar to what the Varsity in Carbondale has. The character of the marquee would still remain intact, and also part of that $10,000 is to repair the neon lights because they are not functioning right now. We are about $3,000 short even with that $10,000 grant, so that money would allow us to update the marquee, to give a lot of new advertising opportunities to businesses in the area. It would just make the main street look really nice, I think, and get that neon and all those lights up and running again. We want to keep the front of the theater looking really nice. The second thing I have to ask is that this Friday, we are starting our first event that we're running as the new board of the theater, which is a 48-hour film race. You may have seen it on the marquee. Filmmakers from all over Southern Illinois are going to come, and they have all weekend to make a film. They're usually silly and short, and then a week from this Saturday, that'll be the 19th of August, we're going to show all the films at the theater. It's free, it's a donation drive, so we're asking for donations, but if you don't want to donate, you can still come. So if you want to come and see the kind of movies people are making, please do that. It's going to be really fun. My request for that is that our filmmakers are allowed to film on public property in the city of Murphysboro, as long as they're respectful, obeying the law, that kind of thing. Usually we request that they get a location form signed for every single location they use, just to be safe and legal. We could waive that on city property that's public, again, if they're being respectful and not breaking the law. I would love it if that was allowed. It would make them have a lot of fun and really get the city of Murphysboro included in the antics of it all. So, yeah, that's my piece. If you have any questions about the Liberty, I'm happy to ask, and feel free to email or call anytime or chat with me after the meeting. I'd be happy to talk more about it.
Questions from the council?
I'm glad to hear you say that you're going to maintain some of the events that have been allowed up there in the past, because that was a concern that was brought to me when they learned that there was a new board.
Sure.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, because that's a lot of good stuff that goes on from some other groups.
Absolutely, and we have new ideas that we want to be community focused. So that is always going to be the mission, is to be community facing and keep it open to everybody. So yes, pretty much all the events you know and love are still happening, so, yep.
So didn't we budget that $3,000?
Was it 2,000 that was budgeted?
This year.
Okay. Well, we'll have that on our next agenda, and
Thank you.
we'll take a look at that budgeted money and see if we can add something to it.
I very much appreciate it. We'll be hopefully back for that meeting as well. If not, maybe we can bring some of the other new board members in too and have them be here. But either way, we really appreciate it, and thanks for the time, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Very good. Our next consideration is consideration of a request for a street closure on September 9th for the class of 2013. We have a 10-year reunion. So is there any questions or concerns on that request?
I'd make that motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the street closure. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have consideration of request from the Murphysboro Apple Festival, and of course, the signature event of the community. We have the street closures as they typically appear. I have not received any communication from Sean Stearns, unless somebody can inform me differently that these are different than what we approved last year. Are there any concerns or questions?
Motion.
Mr. McComb with the motion, Mr. Pittman with the second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have a consideration of participation at the Apple Festival and Kids Free Fair. Who wishes to speak to this? Ms. Ripley.
I was approached by the chair of that committee. Basically, Kids Free Fair, we put on a game, give out candy, that kind of thing. I believe it's from 3 to 5 on Saturday. Does anybody wish to man a game?
I'll be emceeing the Drums at Apple Time.
I usually work with the church in that free fair.
I mean,
I gotta have somebody to man it before you make a motion.
I think it may be something that individual members of the council may want to just look at their calendar and see if it's something they want to participate in. And who was your contact there, Sandra?
Molly Stearns.
Okay.
But if they want to get to me, they can.
And if you want to touch base with Sandra. Finally, we have consideration of request for the Murphysboro Mud Monster race. It's a mud race that's been held at Riverside Park in years past. I did know that Pat Gladson pointed out to me that there is a trap shoot that day at the shooting range, but from looking at the route that they have planned out, as W.J. Pittman said earlier, it might lead to a false start to the race. I don't know that it does not look to me like the route would impact or come within, you know, if they're so far off the mark that they're shooting at the racers on this route, they'll be shooting at the wastewater treatment plant, so.
Did, we still want them to have their own insurance, right?
Well, Gary, remind me if there was a question about that before.
Yeah, I think when they had it before, we made them have their own insurance covering if I get hurt,
Okay.
rather than the city's insurance have to cover it.
My only question is on the timing between the trap shoot and the racers or the people trying to get down the trap shoot to be able to drive through Riverside Park to get to the complex. Would be the only overlap there.
I don't know what the time of either event is. So
This says this begins at 7:30.
So I would think.
Oh, wait a minute. No, it will be beginning at 7:30. Oh, that's when they want officers.
Pat, did you say something?
I think they both start at 9 a.m.
They both start at 9 a.m.
So that should be fine then, because everybody will be there by the time the mud race starts. Everybody going, you know, participating in the trap shoot should be down there.
Right.
We just have to let them through before we close off any of the road.
Well, everybody at the
President
trap
of the
range,
chamber now.
most of the kids and stuff get back to shooting crap fairly early.
Yeah, they'll be there
But
for
they
it.
do a little bit of practicing before they go into it.
Don McLaren is the new leader of the chamber. That's who I got an email from today. I believe Mike Cripps is also still involved. I'm not sure what their two roles are, official titles.
He's president, she's director.
Was there a motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, is there any public comment on community relations? Yes, sir.
Mayor Stevens, Alderman, other city workers, I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today. I'm actually uncertain if I'm in the right window of speaking, so please correct me if I'm not. My name is William Thomas. I'm the worshipful master of Murphysboro Lodge 498 here in town. We've been working on trying to get our building on the National Registry of Historic Places. I know the city's been working on that, and we're actually in the process of trying to fix our building and repair some things, and so we've been trying to reach out to the city. I had reached out to the water department and was told that's not really the avenue, but we're having a lot of drainage issues with water from Chestnut to Mulberry Street on 12th. The sidewalk is so broken up and the pole is just in the sidewalk that most of the water, when it rains, ends up in the basement of our building. And so we're exploring options of how we can fix it on our end, but we're running up against the fact that we've got the sidewalk on one side of our building, and then on the other side, which would be the east side of our building, we have an easement between what is Mr. Boss' office there, and it's got water lines and things in it, so we were told that that is the city's also. And so I'm really just here to kind of request some information or clarification. We just need to kind of coordinate because we're definitely going to have to seal the foundation of our building, and so we've got to do some things moving forward. And so far, we've not got really any response back. I've reached out to the administration building. I did talk to someone in the water department, but once they figured out that it wasn't water directly leaking from the pipes, that it wasn't really their department to deal with either. And so we're just reaching out to kind of touch base with the city and see if there's somebody who can either talk to us, coordinate with us, but we would like to make the repairs because we would like to get back to our organization used to participate a lot in the city and the events that go on, and we're trying really hard to get back to that point. And so,
have you consulted with a contractor to do the work at this point?
We've consulted with Elatech, and so far they're only entertaining the inside of our building because the outside it belongs to the city. But at some point, even talking to them, it seems like we're going to need to seal the outside of that foundation. Like, the inside's going to be kind of a temporary fix, and so it looks like moving forward, regardless of what we do, we'll have to coordinate with the city to kind of make those fixes or do whatever we have to do to make that happen.
Are you going to be able to stick around for a few minutes where you could chat with me after the meeting's over?
Yes, sir.
Let's me and you just talk, and we can set a time where we can meet, and perhaps I can pull in some of the Public Works folks, and we can look at some maps and find out what's what, and then, in any way that we can appropriately participate to try to help facilitate the repair of the building.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you guys for hearing.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment under community relations? Hearing none, we'll come out of that and go to public improvement, chaired by Mr. Don Glad.
Thank you, Will. There's no old business. Under new business, in your packets, consideration of recommendation of landmark designation for 724 Wall Street. Our Historic Preservation Commission has met and passed a resolution recommending the approval of the landmark designation for the Walker House at 724 Walnut Street in Murphysboro. Legal has looked everything over, and you also have an ordinance proposal allowing the designation of that property as a landmark designation.
So I just have one question. How does what does the landmark designation do exactly? Can anyone here tell me? Mr. Blake?
It gives the city's designation as a landmark, as a historic landmark, and the landowner can use that to get recognition by the state or national, and then it gives them the ability to use that status and apply grants for that purpose. But they need the local designation first.
Fantastic.
And it's the Historic Preservation Commission that looks these over, looks their applications over, makes a recommendation to the city council.
And you're very much in favor of this, aren't you?
Yeah, I guess so.
We
are, and
yeah, I don't want us to pass something that you don't want to happen here.
We asked for it, we asked the committee to do that. And I would also add, it has no impact on the property value, or there is no tax deduction or any type of revenue abatement associated with it.
All right. Having a motion by Gary. Second. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Is there any public comment on public improvement? Not.
Thank you very much, Don. It takes Public Works Chair by Mr. Gary McCall. Gary?
Thank you, Mayor. On road business, I don't know if that's on there, discussion regarding the salt shed. Who had it put on?
I think it's a carryover. We kind of continue to rehash the concept, and we always ask Darren if he's got any new.
Well, I did find everything that I had come up with, and we were looking somewhere in the neighborhood of $25,000 to $30,000 for the building, concrete, that's the public works doing the work themselves.
Okay.
Chairman, are we still looking above or below the hill?
Well, Charlie and the mayor mentioned this the last time as well. I think you brought it up about the old car wash that the gentleman that owns it was looking to get rid of it. And that would make a great location for it.
I was just worried about trucks can get in on top of the hill pretty easy. Getting out on the bottom of the hills.
No, I'm talking about on top of the street.
Where the old car was, Murphysboro.
Oh, down there?
That would make a nice.
She's gonna tear that down, Gary.
That's if we could.
Yeah.
Like the trucks can get in and out down there okay?
Last time I spoke to him about the grass that he owns in the back, about getting it mowed, he wanted to give it to me. So I figured if he was gonna give it to me, he'd probably give it to the city, so.
Do you have a contact number for him?
I do.
Can you send it to me? And I will reach out to him, because I do think that if that would make a good location for it.
It's a fairly large lot too. It's not just the car washes, there's a lot that kind of goes up the hill as well back there.
Well, we've talked about this long enough that I'm beginning to get an itch to where I just want to spend the money and get it done with. I don't know if that's responsible or not, but it's what I feel like doing. Anybody else feel the same way?
It's gonna be winter before we know it.
Scott Evans, he's,
I can.
I think we should find out about that property before we make a big decision about spending $20,000 to $30,000 on something we don't even know where we're gonna put.
All right.
We have a place at our current location that would be nice to have.
It would be nice to have that flat area, I would think. That's why we need to go over every too much.
Well, we'll move it to another council meeting or?
What is the exact price that you have, Darren?
The ballpark was 26.5. That's depending upon the concrete and exactly how much rebar we're gonna have to put in the concrete.
Is that price from somebody, is that like a price that's getting a little bit old that we need to update?
Well, honestly, the building itself, that was from the last time we discussed this, and everything's going up. The concrete, I know what the daily rate on it is, so that's pretty much the way I figured it. I do know if we were to do this, we would be months away from being ready to even do this. Currently, we're about three weeks, but maybe, and after rain tomorrow, we're gonna be a month behind now.
So we may not have this ready by winter anyway.
Well, maybe not. Gina, what do you think?
I have no opinion. That was the correct answer.
Yeah, we could go ahead. I'm not opposed to go ahead and vote to, move forward with doing it, and pending. Once we decide where we're gonna put it, then we've already voted on it.
Okay.
And we decided where we're gonna get that 25 or 30,000. Scott, have we decided that?
No. But I mean, we can talk about it.
Possibly use the NFT funds.
We could use the NFT funds too, yeah.
Can motor fuel tax go for something like that?
Sure. Yeah, it pays for the salt and storage, so.
But does pay for storage also?
Yeah.
You don't wanna get
That makes me feel a little
your
bit
motor
better.
fuel money too low because we gotta use that for a lot of other stuff. That covers street caves in and everything else, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, maybe,
Do we know how much we have in Murphysboro now?
As far as like the entire fund? As far as like cash in the bank?
Well,
Probably
I know
millions.
that at one point.
No, but it's-
We did Shoemaker, we took a significant amount out of there at that point.
I believe we would have sufficient funds in motor fuel to do a $26,000 or $30,000 expenditure like that. That
And
would
not
be-
run us way low
No,
if
no.
we have a big, okay.
No,
That's
because-
my biggest question. I
No, the-
don't need an exact amount.
I mean, the funds we have now between the CDs and the money markets and such, I mean, we would have, I know we have in excess of 800,000.
Okay.
Now, we still have,
And I'm not too worried about getting $20,000.
Some of it's RBI money.
some of it's RBI money, yeah, but, yeah.
Don't fill up your gas tank anywhere in Murphysboro.
Okay, that's right.
Well, are we looking for a motion?
I believe we are looking for a motion to, purchase a salt shed, and then we'll figure out where we're going to put it.
I'll make that motion.
have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay? Ayes have it.
Feel like that's the definition of a cart before the horse. Sometimes you gotta do something just to get things moving, right?
It's not gonna be on the agenda anymore.
Oh, we have to decide where to put it.
There's no new business. Is there any public comment on public works?
Gary, I do have one
Go ahead, Will.
item I'd like to bring forward this time. There is a gentleman in the audience with us this evening. I believe his son lives at the corner of North 8th and John Street. Is that correct? Met with him the other day, and Darren and I visited. I know we had a tremendously heavy rain recently, and that area is sort of a point where a lot of various, areas in the community drain to that point. Sir, do you want to just share the situation that you had discussed with me?
Well, the 19th of July, we had that hard rain. The street was completely flooded, was about 2 foot of water in that street. My son drove through it to get to work, and he had trouble with water coming in his basement before. But he went down there just before he went to work, and there was no water in there. When he come home, there's anywhere from 6 to 8 inches of water over his old basement, and it was on nothing but sewage water. He had toilet paper coming out the stool, the bathtub was 3/4 full of water, and it damaged quite a bit of stuff down there, mostly drywall. But all this water comes from 9th Street down, from Maple Street to his point, right there in front of his house. And there's a lot of water that comes down through there.
Certainly is.
It was above his door, the bottom part of his door. It was about 8 inches above it. That's how much water was there.
Well, I know that we've sent you some paperwork to be completed in terms of wanting to pursue perhaps insurance claims. And I know that that's in a process. I did meet Darren Mills, our street department foreman over there. I really don't know, what else could be done there, honestly, after I've taken a look at it. It's just a point to where everything drains to, and it was a very hard rain. But I just wanted to give you an opportunity to share that because I had that conversation with you, and I know we have drainage problems all over town at different spots, but we're going to continue to take a look at it, and if there's something we can do to improve drainage in that area, we will do it.
Well, the past 5, 6, I've lived there all my life until I got married, and then my mom and dad still live there, and we never had a bit of problem with water coming into the basement. In the last 4 or 5 years, it has gotten worse. Seems like every time you get a 3-inch rain, here comes the sewer and the storm sewer water. And what causing it now, I don't know, but it never did do that before.
Well, it may be an area too where we can camera and see if we've had any collapses or, take a look at that and try to see if there's something there that's causing additional issues. So,
Oh, that's well, if everything's right, rainwater shouldn't be in your sewer to start with.
no, that's true. There shouldn't be.
You know, and a lot of times, in the old houses on the sewer line, some of the pumpers tapped into the side instead of the top. And when you get a sewer line backed up and it's tapped into the side, it's gonna go to the low spot. If they're tapped into the top, and we've had this happen in town before, they run a camera through it, it's tapped down toward the bottom of the sewer line. When it fills up, it comes back right up to the house. And one way to fix it is put a trap in your basement.
Yeah.
My brother had to do that on Stephen Drive. But, you got to put a flap in there so it goes out and it closes anything coming back. That's not cheap, I won't say that. But a lot of those sewer lines are tapped into the bottom, right on the side, instead of the top. And that sewer line fills up, it backs up. But actually, rainwater shouldn't be getting in our sewer anyway. Could be a manhole, I guess, leaking someplace. Letting low water in, but we got old brick manholes too. You know that.
Yep. Talking about just rainwater in the drain of the basement, it used to back up through that and right into the basement.
Yeah.
Well, in the last year or two, that drain don't even drain out anymore. I don't know what's happened to it. But we ran a rod down through it, or a snake, whatever you want to call it. And we never did run into anything that was solid, like it caved in or anything.
The guys can probably, maybe speak now, Tim and them guys might be able to run a camera down it and see what's going on, That's about the only fix we got to figure out what the problem is. If there's a sewer line blocking down through there or manhole leaking real bad, if there's an old brick one, all you can do is seal the inside out. Which I think we got guys in town now,
right now doing it.
sealing sewer lines or working on 20th Street.
And just for clerk contactor's sake, could you state your name for the minutes?
David Stein, Senior, speaking for my son.
Well, we'll try to look at that some more, look at some of those manholes as Mr. McComb suggested, and see if we can't figure out if there's anything to be done. But I appreciate you coming to me, Mr. Stein.
Thank you.
All right, if there's no other public comment, Mr. McComb, can we come out of Public Works?
Yours was the last comment.
All right.
Yours was the last comment.
That'll take us to Public Safety Chair.
Thank you, Mayor. We have one item, old business discussion regarding steps off South Fifth Street. We looked at that last meeting. Did you get a chance to look at it?
I did. I spoke to the mayor about it today. I told him it's something we can take care of. It's just gonna take us some time to get there, but it's not gonna be that part of it.
Just redo the railing.
I think we'll just cut out the section that's been, put a new section in and take some bolt on the very top side of where they bolted in the ground.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Thank you. No new business, any public comment on public safety?
Hi, I'm Christine Paul, you, I live at 914 North 24th Street, and I've got kind of a personal request for our neighborhood, I guess. We've got quite a bit of fast traffic moving down our street lately, it seems like, and we've got 1, 2, 4 homes with little children now, and I'd like to request at each end of our street, so one up on Illinois Avenue and one down in Murphysboro, if we could, reduce that to 15 mile an hour and maybe replace it along with children playing signs. And then maybe our Murphysboro officers, which are a good bunch of guys, if they could patrol, it seems to be afternoon and nighttime, if they could maybe just do some patrols, make a few stops, don't write tickets, but just talk to people traveling a little too fast through there. We'd appreciate that. Oh, and Cemetery Hill, coming down from all the way up, from Lake Murphysboro's got to be a real racetrack also.
Yeah.
Just some verbal stops maybe. No tickets
Well,
necessary.
they're going fast enough, I'm sure that we will find a ticket book somewhere. But I'll leave that to officer discretion.
I think if you just talk to them, I found it usually works.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what did you say your address was?
914 North 24.
Officer Middleman, can you make note of that, please? And pass that along to the chief so we can.
Chris, is there anybody that's doing that particular, like in the neighborhood, that's a constant problem, or is it just kind of random?
It's just kind of random, yeah. And this seems to be more traffic, different traffic than we used to see, so.
Gotcha.
The face of the neighborhood's kind of changing.
What's the speed limit there now?
I think there's 25 miles speed limit there now. 15 would be wonderful if we could do that.
I believe you asked if we needed an ordinance, I'm pretty sure we do.
It wouldn't be to change the speed limit. I don't think it would put up the children to play signs, but to change the speed limit and post it, it would take an ordinance, which we do not have on the agenda for this meeting, so that couldn't happen yet.
We will agenda that for the next meeting and take that under consideration.
That'd be fine, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other public comment? You all right, Mayor?
Thank you. That goes to personnel chair by Ms. Barb Hughes. Barb.
Thank you, Mayor. Right now, we have no old business, no new business. Is there public comment on personnel? Hearing none, we can get out there. Thank you, Mayor.
I do have one thing to mention under the mayor's report. I did receive word this week that the Murphysboro Hardee's is under new ownership, that it was purchased by Hardee's Corporate. And so I talked with a contact with them this week, and they do have plans to update and repair the parking lot and remodel the actual Hardee's restaurant building. And so I'm very thankful for that, because it surely does need it. And then secondarily, of course, I sort of made mention of it in the bills, but the first Sunset concert was rained out. The one for this Thursday, the band members have called off because one of the members has COVID. So this week we'll have the group that was supposed to play next week, and then Ivis John on the 17th, and then Lewis Creek on at the end. So anyway, if you notice any changes to that schedule, it's just because of those issues. And so that's all that I have. We'll go to council member requests. I'll go to Ms. Hughes.
A couple of things. I'm just keeping your thoughts and prayers. Mike Jones, he started drinking chemotherapy this week, and you know, he does so much for tourism and such. Just keeping in the prayers. And I have myself another note here to congratulate somebody. Oh, I know, Charlie Nance. I think we are so lucky to have such a good, such good employees. I mean, this man does all this volunteer on his own time, not on our time, and it's so good for the community, for the children of the community to see those people that will get out and volunteer and do things for just them. And I just appreciate it a lot. And that's all.
Thank you, Laura. Mr. Runge?
Nothing, Mayor, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Austin?
Nothing, sir, thank you.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes, thank you.
What Hunziker?
Yes, thank you.
This comes back to me, and I just almost forgot that I did also want to express my public condolences to the family of Dean Akins, who pastor the First Assembly of God Church here in town, that learned this week that passed away somewhat suddenly. And he was here many times to pray before the meetings, and we greatly appreciate his service to the community over all these years. Mr. Pittman? Mr. Urbis?
Welcome, Mr. Fritz.
Mr. McComb?
Nothing, Mayor, thank you.
Mr. Ritchie?
I want to say I'm really excited about the theater. I think that's a positive in town, and from a younger guy's perspective too, like, that's really interesting. Like, I might participate in the film, in the race someday.
We'd love you to.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
And thanks for your help with the floor too.
Yes, I'm putting a face with the name now, so,
That's
yes.
right,
Yeah,
we repainted the floor in the whole theater, and Noah and volunteers from the City Hope Church came out and helped, so the whole floor looks nice and new in there now, so thank you for that.
Yeah, well, we're excited for you. So,
Thank you.
Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Glad?
I want to thank Mr. Sheffer for his report that was in our packet. I went down 7th Street the other day, and it's, well, I guess it's just the driveways now, and a couple other spots that can be done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Don. We'll go to department head request, Attorney Blake.
Nothing to report.
Ms. Ridley?
Pleased to report that the city is the recipient of a second round of awning grant. More awnings to come.
Yeah, that's really good news.
Say that again. We have a phase 2 awning grant for downtown.
Yeah, $82,000. That's good. And that will go a long way to help provide, much more new awnings for downtown. Mr. Evans?
Yeah. After our discussion about the salt storage, Sandra and I had an executive session, and we both remember. Yeah, so. Is there anything with the, page.
When are you find it, Scott?
Collective memory of this, of myself and the scout sometimes. Anyway. Mr. McBride?
Nothing, sir, thank you.
Bowman?
Nothing.
Mr. Shepherd?
Nothing, Mayor.
Ms. Dolly?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Lee?
We continue to make repairs on broken water mains throughout the city. You never know, no rhyme or reason really other than just aging infrastructure. Went to a recent conference and nationally, statistically from the nation, there's a water main break that occurs about every 2 seconds. So it's not just the city, although I think they may have gotten some of the statistics from us. Just, if you see the guys out working, just give them a wave, don't honk. Just let them know that they're behind us.
Sure.
They are working all over time.
Thank you, Tim. Mr. Iser?
Nothing.
Mr. Gladden?
I don't think.
Darren, I need to catch you for just a second. You have anything for us? Is there a motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Motion and now council.
That's awesome. 24. Yeah, I am. Brown brick house. Yeah. We did. We were at and we went to Vermont about EDC. What would it really all
It's been good work.
We've just been running slowly, making it our own. I'm sure it was the same rate he was talking about.